Check. You know that part's going to fit. eBay Motors. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
ESPN app. You're listening to 1050 ESPN. Your home for New York Islanders hockey. WEPN New York. A Good Karma Brands radio station. Now on Sports Center all night. We inch closer to Selection Sunday.
Tipped out near midcourt by Cathero with a long right hand. Steimer is now at 4 from the top of the key. Beekman 3. Splashes it in.
The Suns will be without their superstar for the foreseeable future.
Now we're talking about another Durant injury here. And I would say, you just got to get to mid-April and own one piece here. And we'll see how long it's going to be for him to be out. He played certainly well last night, but for them to go on a long run in these playoffs, he's going to need to be on the court.
Plus, all the action around the NBA.
Horton Tucker off a Kessler pick right side, bringing it back to Market, and he catches. Hard drive, right hand floater, up and in. Lowry, Marketing.
This is Sports Center all night.
Draymond is Dylan Brooks being Dylan Brooks, acting like he's been a four-time champion, which he has not. Happy with another regular season play.
What's going on? Welcome into Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and SiriusXM Channel 80. I'm Daniel Sallerson. There were 57 Division I college basketball games on Thursday, and we're going to go over every single one. No, not really, but we have you covered on the madness that has taken over college basketball. The madness has also carried over into the NBA. Of course, Draymond Green and Dylan Brooks stepped on the same basketball court tonight. We'll let you know how that went in just a little bit. But we begin with the ACC tournament taking place in Greensboro, North Carolina, and the University of North Carolina needing a win against Virginia in order to help themselves get into the big dance. It was a roller coaster season for the Tar Heels, to say the least. North Carolina began the season number 1 in the preseason AP poll, and now, according to Joe Lunardi, are one of the next 4 out as far as teams regarding the NCAA tournament. You heard it here on ESPN Radio. UNC was hanging in there early on.
Caleb Love picks up his dribble, right side short corner. Out for Davis. Catch and shoot 3. Got it! R.J. Davis with a triple. And we've got ourselves a 1-point game. Virginia 25, North Carolina 24.
One of 4 threes for R.J. Davis. At one point in the second half, he was outscoring the rest of his teammates and finished with 24 points. UNC trailed by 1 at the half, and then Virginia took over in the final 20 minutes.
Rebound secured by Black. He finds Davis, high left wing, drive into the basket, puts it up with the right, swatted by Shedrick, who has been a defensive monster tonight. Ahead of the field for Franklin, shovels to Shedrick, who bookends it with a jam. 66-55. This game is all but over for Virginia.
Yeah, the Cavaliers outscored the Tar Heels 43-35 in the second half and win it 68-59. Here's Holly Rowe after the game with Virginia guard Reese Beekman.
Well, Reese, part of this game changed in the first half when you had 7 straight points because of your defensive turnovers. How did you fuel this game with your defensive pressure?
It was just a game plan from the start. You know, we came in this week ready to work on defense, and that was the mindset I came into. So we just came together as a team and had a great defensive game.
Coach told us before the game that your ability to anticipate not only defensively, but how you read offense. How did you really help your team be a step ahead?
Just playing through the system, you know. We took our time to slow everything down this week and just, play our game. And I feel like everybody did their part tonight, and we got a great win.
You guys had a blow yesterday when one of your best players, Ben Vanderplas, broke his hand. How did Shedrick fill in a big way tonight?
He did a lot. He's a rim protector, a live threat, and, he impacts the game in many ways. So having him out there, was great for us tonight.
This is your first game of the tournament. How do you guys take the momentum you have in a close game, walking off the floor with the win, and carry it over till tomorrow?
Just the same intensity. We came in this week ready, seeking a championship, and we're just going to pursue that every night.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
will be making the NCAA tournament this year, but we can't say the same about their opponent, the Pitt Panthers. Joe Lenardi has Pitt in the tournament, won the last 4 byes, but Duke said bye to the Panthers' hopes of winning the ACC tournament.
On Pitt, Filipowski throws another one on the fire. He's got 21 and a chance to go to the line with a 3-point play.
And he finished the game with 21 points. Duke with an easy win over Pitt, 96-69. You heard it, Wes Durham and Jordan Connett on the call on ESPN Radio. Let's go back to Greensboro and get a final thought from them, guys.
Well, thanks very much. This afternoon, quarterfinal session in Greensboro. Well, we got a tight one and we got a blowout. And to be honest with you, the top seed Miami Hurricanes won a tight fit.
Miami looked like a team that said, hey, here's your knockout punch. If you're coming back, we're still going to try and bury you late. I still like Miami, but I want to see them protect leads a little bit better, but they do advance.
Maybe the most dominant performance in the ACC tournament so far, though, belonged to the Duke Blue Devils in our second quarterfinal. I mean, the Blue Devils went 12-0 to start the first half, 12-0 to start the second half, and they looked as impressive as anybody has so far, 96-69 over Pitt.
That was a complete 40 minutes. Duke from the tip set the tone offensively, knocking down shots, sharing that thing, defending. And then in the second half, we said, hey, it's a 16-point game.
Right.
Pitt needs to come out here, a little 7-0 run in the first half. Most impressive performance early on in this tournament. And they look poised to play deep into it.
Well as they shot it, they set a single-game ACC tournament record, 27 assists on 36 field goals that produced the 96 points. It breaks a record North Carolina set. Maryland had 25 against 24 had been done.
Duke feels like they're the best version of themselves at the absolute right time.
Well, it's going to be impressive to watch and see what happens. The Blue Devils and the Canes played twice in the regular season. Duke won a close game at Cameron, and then on a Monday night, Miami lit up Duke down at the Watsco Center.
Yeah.
See what happens. I'll tell you what. Fun. Great to be with Jordan Cornette. This is Wes Durham right here on your home for college basketball, ESPN Radio. Now let's go back to the studio.
All right, thank you very much, Wes and Jordan. So, spoiler alert, yes, Miami did defeat Wake Forest in one of those quarterfinal games. We'll show you how that happened in the ending in that one in just a little bit. Let's go to the Big 12 tournament. The top-seeded Kansas Jayhawks will be without their head coach, Bill Self, for the entire tournament. Self went to the emergency room Wednesday night for what doctors called a standard procedure, the school announced on Thursday. They began their title defense on Thursday against West Virginia, and are looking to become the first team to repeat as Big 12 tournament champions since Iowa State did it back in 2014 and 15. Jalen Wilson and company didn't miss a beat without their head coach.
This is one that Jalen will pull.
He will indeed. Wilson for three. He buried it. Jay Will from straight on. And Kansas goes back up 9.
You can just see the look in his eyes. I'm like, he's going to shoot this. Got a little bit of an opening and made him pay with the 3.
That's Brian Haney from Learfield. Wilson led the team with 22 points and 11 rebounds, the first Kansas player with a 20-point double-double in the conference tournament game since Marcus Morris in 2011. Kansas takes care of West Virginia 78-61. Here's Jalen with our Chris Budden.
With everything you guys were dealing with in Coach Self's absence, how were you guys able to focus today and get the job done?
Just rallying together. You know, no matter what adversity we go through throughout the entire season, we've found a way to come together and play as a team in the toughest moments. And I think today was a great example of that.
So much balance scoring today, but DeJuan Harris, what does he give you extra when he's being aggressive with the shooting?
Everything that we need. You know, he's our floor general. He's finding guys throughout the entire game. And when he's aggressive scoring, it opens our offense up so much more.
Our own Kevin Winter caught up with former Baylor Bears player King McClure earlier today on ESPN Radio. Here's McClure on how Kansas will respond with their head coach being out.
I mean, I think first and foremost, you hope that Bill Self is okay. And that's the biggest thing at this moment. His health, his safety, whatever's going on, you hope that he's okay. But as a player, I think at the end of the day, the team is a talented team, one of the best teams in the country. I think they're still going to have the same level of focus. As long as they know that coach is okay, they're going to be fine. Because, I mean, when you look at Norm Roberts and where he's coached at and the staff that, once recruited me when I was coming out, these guys are veterans. They know what they're doing. They know how to handle everything. They will be fine. They will still be competitive. I don't think this team will miss a beat.
McClure's Bears were the 4 seed heading into the Big 12 tournament, taking on 5th-seeded Iowa State. Cyclones has reached a Big 12 title game 5 times, the third most of any team. They're a perfect 5-0 in those games, the best winning percentage in Big 12 tournament history. They also have 9 quad 1 wins, which is tied from 4th most in Division I. Currently a projected 5 seed according to Joe Lunardi, and maybe even higher after Thursday.
Holmes, top of the key, will drive into the paint. Shot partially blocked by Thamba. Fight for the rebound. Saved in bounds by Iowa State to Lipsy, who lays it in.
That's a killer.
That's John Walters from Learfield. Lipsy became the 4th player in the last 20 seasons with 10 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 steals in any conference tournament game. Iowa State pulls off the upset, beating 10th-ranked Baylor 78-72. Here's Chris Budden with Iowa State head coach T.J. Otzenberger.
We got 9 guys that played in double-digit minutes. Why has this formula worked so well for you guys?
Well, our team spirit is picked up. Our guys are really playing for each other. They're having fun. Our locker room's great. It's all our guys. This is the time of year you want to have the most fun, have the best locker room, and I'm really proud of them for embracing that.
I'm going to try and get your voice to act a little bit more for one more question. It's been a tough stretch towards the end of the season. How did you get your guys to believe and play with this kind of energy?
Well, they do the hard work every day. We want to remind them this is the best league in the country. Everyone takes losses, and it's how you handle adversity. So really proud of them.
All right, that's T.J. Otzelberger. Hopefully he has his voice back for tomorrow's Big 12 semifinals. That's with Chris Budden. Let's hear once again from King McClure, who talked about his Baylor Bears not looking like kings against the Cyclones.
I mean, the easiest way to put this is they just got punked. I mean, when you look at the numbers on the rebounding, it was 44-17. I mean, that's just not Baylor basketball. That's not how Coach Drew likes to run his teams or coaches his teams. To get beat 44-17 on the glass, and your bigs probably have, I think they had about 1-2 rebounds combined. That's unacceptable basketball, and you're not going to beat anybody good when you play that way. So Baylor just didn't match Iowa State's physicality. And as a result, Iowa State got the victory.
Iowa State will take on Kansas tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Sirius XM Channel 81 will have you covered for the Big 12 semifinals. The ACC tournament can be heard on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and Sirius XM Channel 80. Channel 80 will have you covered for both championship games on Saturday. You're listening to Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio. I'm Daniel Salerson. Exactly 1 month from today, the NBA postseason will be set. Where will the Phoenix Suns end up? That depends on the health of their new superstar, Kevin Durant, as Durant is expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks because of a left ankle injury, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. The team said in a release that Durant has a left ankle sprain and will be reevaluated in 3 weeks. Durant, who had an MRI on Thursday, slipped and injured his ankle during pregame warm-ups Wednesday, knocking him out of what was supposed to be his first home game with the Suns. The last 4 seasons have not been kind to Durant. He's now missed more games in the past 4 seasons, 168, than he missed in his first 12 seasons of 119. Harry Douglas is bummed that he and NBA fans don't get to see the greatness of Durant due to all of his injuries.
You look at all Kevin Durant's injuries since 2019, they've been all lower body injuries. And that's just at a certain point that becomes taxing. And I hope that he can get to a point to where he's healthy and don't have to worry about injuries going into the playoffs. But I think all of us would love to see a healthy Kevin Durant on the Phoenix Suns out there balling out and making plays, because right now in the 3 games that he's played with the Suns, he's averaging 26.6 points per game. And the game comes to him easy. And I mean easy peasy. And it's like he's barely even trying, but that speaks to the skill set of Kevin Durant. Also, his basketball mind and his high IQ.
And Durant has gone off to a stellar start, averaging 26.7 points per game on 69% shooting in his 3 games with the Suns. It's the highest field goal percentage of players' first 3 games of the franchise. Jason Fitz of Fitz and Harry is not concerned with KD's injury as long as he's back in time for the playoffs.
In what little sample size we have, it just looks so good. It just looks so good. Like, there's just a moment where, me and my sweet tooth, like when I walk into a restaurant, I immediately, like if I walk into even like a diner, you walk into like a good old fashioned diner, and what they always have is they have like the little dessert thing that's like in the glass case, right as you're walking by, right? The minute I see that dessert, the whole meal, all I'm thinking about is the dessert. I'm thinking about that cake that I saw that's like 18 layers high that somebody's grandma made, that's like a homemade recipe, and the whole time I'm eating, I'm thinking, I want that cake. That's where I am with the Suns at this point. Like, I walked past I saw the beautiful piece of cake that is known as this Suns roster together. And now, while I got to eat my grilled cheese sandwich and my fries and have a good time, that's fine. I want that cake, and I'm going to get that cake in the playoffs, and I believe that cake is going to be unbeatable in the playoffs, so I'm not concerned.
Well, now I'm just hungry thanks to Jason Fitz, and now I want some cake. But the Suns currently have a 3-game cushion on the Clippers for 4th in the Western Conference. But this is a delicate situation for KD and his team as they attempt to make a run in the postseason. Here's ESPN NBA front office insider Bobby Marks.
Yeah, we're talking about them on Sunday after that Dallas game, and Kevin and Devin Booker and how the role players are basically going to be keyed on them. And now we're talking about another Durant injury here. And I always say, you just got to get to mid-April and on one piece here. And we'll see how long it's going to be for him to be out. Played certainly well last night, but for them to go on a long run in these playoffs, he's going to need to be on the court.
Up next, we'll give you the latest on Aaron Rodgers. You're listening to Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio.
Coming up Friday with a month left in the NBA season, how will these injuries to the stars affect the playoff push for their teams? We'll break it all down on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max Friday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
This is Sports Center all night.
How long does it take to tackle a home project? With Angie, you could cross it off your list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need, indoor or outdoor, repair or redesign, and we handle the rest, sending a top pro to get it done. You don't have to lift a finger, except to tap the screen or click the mouse. Plus, Angie is free to use. So bring us your next home project, and we'll bring it home. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to get started.
Are you working way too hard for way too little? There's never been a better time to consider a career in IT. You could enjoy a recession-resistant career in a rewarding field with plenty of growth opportunities and often flexible work environments. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. You could start your new career in months, not years. Take classes online or on campus, and financial aid is available to qualified students, including the GI Bill. Now is the time. mycomputercareer.edu.
The Michael K. Show is on.
The hope for the Jets is that this is the first step in a lot of steps. This is a get to know you.
There's something about a first impression, right? So hopefully they walked in there. Hey, we're not the girl that doesn't have a chance. You'd be stupid not to come here. Look at the talent we have. This is New York. Check out our facility. Walk in there with a strut saying, we're a quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl, brother. Come join us.
Don't miss the Michael K. Show. Weekdays at 3 on 98.7 ESPN.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
I'm Martin Hope, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Josh, quote, After walking around my whole life being a mouth breather, I was excited to try Navage. I read the directions carefully, pressed the button, and oh my gosh, what a sensation. So much mucus, so much crud, but oh sweet, merciful air, I can finally breathe you through my nose. Never have I ever taken such an amazing breath in my life. This is a life changer, unquote. He's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
The Venture X card from Capital One gives you premium travel benefits, perfect for seeing Taylor Swift The Eras Tour. Presented by Capital One. Oh, I do love her. Earn 5 times miles on flights and 10 times miles on hotels through Capital One Travel.
Enjoy your stay in Suite 13.
Whoa, 13? That's Taylor's lucky number. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Don't miss the #1 rated afternoon drive show in New York. It's the Michael K. Show. And it's every weekday at 2:55 on 98.7 ESPN.
This is Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Thanks for listening to Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. I'm Daniel Salerson.
Multiple Jets team officials fly out to meet with Aaron Rodgers in person.
You put the owner on the plane, you put the team president on the plane, you put the head coach, GM, the offensive coordinator on the plane. You're not doing that because you're hoping he'll listen.
In case you've been on a darkness retreat, a contingent of Jets team officials, including owner Woody Johnson, general manager Joe Douglas, coach Robert Saleh, and offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett, flew to California Tuesday to meet in person with Rodgers. Sources previously told ESPN's Dan Graziano the Jets are becoming more confident in their chances of landing quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Sources close to the situation told ESPN's Diana Rossini on Thursday.
The best word to describe the way the New York Jets feel about this, which is optimistic, right? So they felt that way actually before they even went out to California near Aaron Rodgers' house to meet with him, have dinner. Owner Woody Johnson went along with them. It was his private jet that they flew on. And they felt good before they went to visit with Aaron Rodgers because they've had conversations with him. They've had conversations with the Green Bay Packers as well in terms of the compensation. But from what I was told, it was really important for ownership to just get in front of Aaron and talk and just feel him out and see what the situation could evolve into. And I was told it went really well. And it was an exceptional meeting, and the Jets returned back to the New York area yesterday. And in the building, just having conversations with people there yesterday, they feel really good that they're going to be able to land the big fish.
So what would it take for the Jets and the Packers to complete a deal for the 4-time NFL MVP? Rossini says maybe not a lot.
From the Jets' perspective, they have done everything they possibly could do to line this up. I'm interested to see, I don't know the details of what a contract would look like, but you have to figure that's probably a very big part of this.
Right.
In terms of compensation with the Green Bay Packers, I was told that the Packers weren't in this looking for the moon and the stars, that they're being very fair about this with the Jets. But the contract, I think, is going to be the element of this that if it were to come together, will probably be the most interesting part of this. But knowing that ownership is all in, you have to figure these are the things that usually work out when ownership wants something this badly.
All right, so there is no one following this situation more carefully and closely than Mike Greenberg, who might be going on a darkness retreat. If his Jets land Rodgers, he thinks it's a match made in heaven.
I have to believe that he would understand that if he's going to come to an entirely new team, an entirely new situation, an entirely new city where he has built up no equity, he would not want this to be a humiliating disaster, which I think would suggest that he will be more all in than we saw him last year. He may be deciding, do I want to do that? Do I want to show up there for mini camp, for the OTAs? Do I want to bring Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore out to my house and we're going to run routes and all, do all the extra stuff that it will take for me to have a chance to be a genuinely great player on this new team?
So that is Mike Greenberg, of course, hosting Greeny, of course, host of Get Up. And, of course, he's going to get up if Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to land a deal with the New York Jets. Keep in mind, if Rodgers leaves, the Packers would get hit with a $40.3 million dead charge in 2023, nearly $9 million more than he would count if he were on the roster. Of course, the Packers believe that Jordan Love is ready to go in Green Bay if Rodgers and the Jets do agree to a deal. So we'll see what happens. Again, the legal tampering begins on Monday, but plenty more to come on Aaron Rodgers' developing story, meeting with the Jets in California as one of the QB situations, one of those dominoes ready to fall. Half-hour headlines, and back to the hardwood we go next on SportsCenter All Night.
Hey, it's Greeny, and I hope that you're enjoying listening to ESPN Radio. I myself am feverishly updating Twitter every 5 seconds to see the very latest on Aaron Rodgers, and we'll continue to talk about it with you. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Sports are easy to disagree on. Let's see what happens when sports talk hosts talk about something they agree on.
No, hold on. I'm saying drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
Well, I disagree. I think drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
Come on, man. Wait, I think we're saying the same thing.
Oh, so what do we do now?
Everyone agrees that drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. National average 12-month savings by new customer survey who saved with Progressive between June 2020 and May 2021. Potential savings will vary.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with a set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
The Bart and Hahn Show.
This is not the Knicks that you grew up with. This is more like your father's Knicks. And your father's Knicks had an assistant coach on its bench, and his name was Tom Thibodeau. The coach that everybody wanted to run out of town in early December. And right now you have a team that is absolutely humming, and you love watching this. And this is the most fun that you have had watching the Knicks team in a decade and maybe more.
Bart Scott and Alan Hahn. Weekdays at noon on 98.7 ESPN.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clear skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use ClosetBox instead? ClosetBox is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. ClosetBox's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. ClosetBox's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. ClosetBox has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code Radio50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
ESPN New York, everywhere. Whether you're driving in your car or riding the LIRR, ESPN New York is never out of reach.
We're going to try to touch as many of you as possible.
No matter your listening routine, never miss Stump Rothenberg for your morning run.
I have a lot of knowledge.
Never miss the Power Hour. Duty or Power Lunch. And never miss an ENN. Again. Hailing a cab, catching the train, or boarding a bus. The ESPN New York app is your ticket to ESPN New York everywhere. Download the app today. The biggest names, the biggest games. They're all right here. This is 1050 ESPN New York. This is SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Thanks for making us a part of your night. I'm Daniel Sallis, and you're listening to SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. For a job you'll love, visit progressive.com/careers.
Half-hour headlines on SportsCenter all night.
Kevin Durant expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks after spraining his ankle Wednesday night during pregame warmups. Kansas advances to the Big 12 semifinals despite being without head coach Bill Self. And UNC falls to Virginia in ACC quarterfinal play and are in jeopardy of missing the NCAA tournament.
Rebound secured by Black. He finds Davis, high left wing, driving to the basket, puts it up with the right, swatted by Shedrick, who has been a defensive monster tonight. Ahead of the field for Franklin, shovels to Shedrick, who bookends it with a jam. 66-55. This game is all but over for Virginia.
The call on ESPN Radio. ESPN bracketologist Joe Lunardi currently has North Carolina on the outside looking in after their loss to the Cavaliers. North Carolina will likely become the first preseason #1 team to miss the NCAA tournament since NC State in 1974-75. UNC head coach Hubert Davis.
Never will be disappointed in these kids. I'm so proud and honored and thankful and appreciative to be one of their coaches and to be around them every day. I'm sad and disappointed for them that we're in this position. Just very sad for them.
Staying in the ACC and the #1 seed in this weekend's tournament. No, I'm not talking about Duke or Virginia. I'm talking about the Miami Hurricanes. Of course, you did hear from Wes Durham and Jordan Cornette talking about that game earlier on. The Hurricanes are the #1 seed in the ACC tournament for just the second time in program history. They were the top seed in 2013 and defeated North Carolina in the title game. Since then, Miami has failed to get further than the quarterfinals. Well, that changed on Thursday against Wake Forest.
Front court comes Wong, quickly for Walker. Return for Wong. He'll slide baseline feed. Miller, layup good. Jordan Miller. 5 in the second half, 18 in the ball game now on his 8th field goal.
Miller finished with 18 points, 9 rebounds as the Hurricanes get by the Demon Deacons 74-72. Miller caught up with Andrea Carter after the win.
Jordan, you all had an 18-point lead. You lose Nigel Pack. It's cut to 2. What did it take for you all to hang on and get this win today?
Yeah, it took us to be poised down the stretch. I think we executed down the stretch pretty well. We missed some free throws, but, basketball is a game of mistakes. You just got to bounce back.
When I talked to Coach at halftime, he said he felt like you all were a little anxious in the first half and feeling some pressure. How would you describe the pressure that this team is feeling?
I wouldn't say pressure, but, this is our first time as a unit playing in the ACC tournament together. So obviously there's going to be a little bit of nerves, but once we got on the court, I felt like it flowed pretty well.
Well, you had 13 of your 18 points in the first half. So what was your mindset to get the team going?
I just wanted to be dominant, be aggressive, so they would kind of follow me after that, which we did. We came out, we got the W. It wasn't pretty, but, in March, some wins aren't going to be pretty.
You got the player of the year in your team on Isaiah Wong. Is the strongest player, is that Norchad O'Meara?
We're going to have to have a bench pressing contest, but Zay's a bucket. I feel like the whole starting five's a bucket. Good W today.
You were a bucket as well. Congratulations on the win.
Appreciate you.
That's Miami guard Jordan Miller as they move on. We'll take on Duke tonight at 7 o'clock on ESPN Radio. On the other side of the bracket, we already mentioned #2 seed Virginia advancing to tonight's semifinals, but who will they be playing? Clemson moved up to one of Joe Lunardi's first 4 out after UNC's loss to Virginia. A win against NC State would certainly send a message to the committee about earning a spot in the Big Dance. Well, I think the message was received.
Malcolm, you can see it in the body language now of the Wolfpack. They're slowing down. They look a little bit defeated as this Clemson lead only continues to build, now sitting at 16 points. Shefflin up top, open for three. He puts it up and hits Ian Shefflin. He's got 12 points. Timeout NC State. They are on the ropes.
That was Mike Cousins from ESPN Radio. They outscored NC State 41-18 in the second half, the largest point differential in any half of ACC tournament game for Clemson since 1998. It's the first appearance in the ACC tournament semifinal since 2018 as they defeat the Wolfpack 80-54. I mentioned Mike Cousins and Malcolm Huckabee. The two games between UNC Virginia and Clemson and NC State, they had the call of both of them. And let's hear what they have to say now that the ACC is down to the final four teams.
Thank you, Daniel. Final two quarterfinal games Thursday night at Greensboro, North Carolina at the ACC tournament. And we've got a chalk field for the semifinals coming Friday night on ESPN Radio. 1 seed Miami will see 4 seed Duke. And the two victors on the night side, Virginia with a 68-59 win over 7-seeded North Carolina, likely knocking the Tar Heels out of the NCAA tournament field entirely. And the second game, Clemson 80, NC State 54. Malcolm, let's start with the Cavaliers' win over the Tar Heels.
Most dominant defensive performance I've seen all year in college basketball. Virginia held North Carolina to 59 points, 29% from the three-point line, and they shot a really poor field goal percentage, 35% from the floor. It was dominant from every position out there, really a masterful and staple of Tony Bennett, of what he's brought to college basketball, one of the most dominant defensive teams consistently year in, year out in college.
Clemson and NC State had played 3 times this year. The margin of victory for Clemson was 14 the first time, 25 the second time, and now here on a neutral court, 80-54, a 26-point win. What was the biggest key for the Tigers to knock out the Wolfpack?
Balance. They had a balanced offensive tack. You look at what Clemson did. They had 4 players in double digits. P.J. Hall led the way with 15, but I also think Shefflin, he was really big in that game for them. 15 points, 3 of 3 from the three-point line. I think you look at these numbers right here, 11 of 24, 45% from beyond the arc for Clemson. They dominated defensively. They kept that high-powered offensive backcourt of NC State under control, and then they shot the ball really well from the three-point line.
Continuing coverage of the ACC tournament, the semifinals on ESPN Radio, 7 and 9:30 Eastern, Friday night. For Malcolm Huckabee, I'm Mike Cousins, right here on your home court for college basketball, ESPN Radio. Now let's go back to Daniel Salerson in the studio.
Thank you very much, Mike and Malcolm. From the ACC to the Big East, 6th-ranked Marquette began their quest for a conference championship on Thursday afternoon against St. John's. After being down 10 at the half, the Golden Eagles came storming back to force overtime inside Madison Square Garden. Came down to the final possession.
St. John's inbounds. They get it back to Adewusu. He drives, kicks it back out. Open three. No good. No good. Marquette wins it. Marquette has won the game. Josh Alexander missed the three. All you need to know, the final. Marquette 72.
Wow,
St. John's 70 in overtime.
That was Steve True from Learfield's the third time this season, trailing by double digits at halftime. The first time winning the game. They snap a 6-game losing streak when trailing by double digits at the half. So, again, Marquette hangs on 72-70. Not as much drama in the next game between 4th-seeded UConn and 5th-seeded Providence.
Sonogo, a couple dribbles and a handoff to Hawkins. Hawkins behind the screen of Sonogo. Doubled for the moment. Drives inside. Pull up 15-footer by Hawkins. Good. What a tough shot by Hawkins. And he struts a little bit after making that one, 52-28.
That's Mike Crispino from Learfield. Providence was down as much as 26. They did make a game out of it, but come up short, falling to UConn 73-66. Marquette and UConn will square off in the Big East semifinals tonight at 6:30. The number 1 seed in the Pac-12 is the UCLA Bruins, taking on the Buffaloes of Colorado. Colorado was hanging in there with the second-ranked team in the nation. UCLA down 3 with 14 minutes to go, but then pulled an emerald and kicked it up a notch.
Hooks the pass to Hammond. It's stolen by Hawkins. Passing to Campbell. Back to Hawkins. Lays it up and in. And a foul. Jet for a three-point play. 5 Jaime Hawkins, who looks like he fell off the Pirates of the Caribbean dollar slot machine, able to swashbuckle his way in and maybe put this game away.
That's Josh Lewin from Learfield combined the Pirates of the Caribbean to my Emerald reference. The odds were 5,000 to 1 that I would use an Emerald reference in tonight's show. UCLA's odds of winning the Pac-12 look a little better as they take down Colorado 80-69. In the Big 12, the 3-seed Kansas State Wildcats took on the 6-seed TCU Horned Frogs. A 6-seed has never won the Big 12 tournament, but TCU looks to buck that trend this season. The secret ingredient might be scoring 75 or more points. When they do so, they are 17-1 entering Thursday's matchup with the Wildcats. Good news for TCU fans, they hit the mark.
Bounce to Court. Court sends it to O'Bannon, left alone for three. Knocked in another one. Chuck O'Bannon with 22 points in this ball game. And the Horned Frogs lead by 16, 76-60.
That's Brian Estridge from Learfield. TCU upsets Kansas State 80-67. Of course, it's almost tournament time. Tune in tonight for the Big 12 semifinals. Coverage begins at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. What's going to be interesting about this year's tournament is all the legendary coaches that you won't see next weekend. Last season, you had Hubert Davis replace the great Roy Williams at UNC. No more Coach K in March with John Shire taking over at Duke. And now Jim Boeheim won't be leading his Orange, retiring after their loss on Wednesday in the ACC tournament. ESPN college basketball analyst Corey Alexander puts it all in perspective for us in a conversation with Kevin Winter.
I think it's the right way to do it, Kev. I believe it's the right way to do it simply because if you want to be able to recruit guys to come into your program, you also want to make sure that they know guys are taken care of for doing the right things within your program. And you talk about Hubert Davis, of course, was a great player at North Carolina, goes on to be in the NBA for 12 years, goes to ESPN, is on TV, and comes back as an assistant coach. You talk about John Shire, who wins a national championship, comes back to be an assistant coach. And then you think about Adrian Autry, who was a freshman phenom and the point guard for 4 years for Jim Boeheim, and has more importantly been on his bench for 11 years, established himself as a great assistant coach with tremendous recruiting ties all around the country. I think it's a perfect opportunity for Syracuse to take that step into the future.
You're listening to SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and SiriusXM Channel 80. I'm Daniel Sallerson. If you're looking for a late-night, early morning snack, there's plenty of beef to go around between Dylan Brooks of the Memphis Grizzlies and Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors. It all started when Brooks came out and voiced his displeasure for Green earlier this season. Well, Draymond decided to respond on his own podcast Wednesday.
If you ever wondered why the Memphis Grizzlies is not ready to compete for a championship, look no further than this idiot right here. They're actually depending on this guy to help them win a championship. And he says his game is cool. Quite frankly, that just shows how little you know about basketball. And yet, you running around talking about a dynasty? The dynasty starts after you, not with you. When you contribute in the way that I have contributed to 4 championships, they tend to like you. So, next time you speak up on me, you should do some fact checking. Next time you speak up on me, you should do some soul searching. Next time you speak up on me, I hope you're in a better situation than you in now, where the guys you play with actually enjoy playing with you because they actually think you're contributing to winning. Because it ain't happening right now, champ. You're not a champ.
That's Draymond Green on the Draymond Green podcast. With everything going on with the Grizzlies right now, Jason Fitz believes Brooks needs to focus on getting his team back on track.
When you are dealing with everything that this team is dealing with right now, and when you're dealing with all of the outside noise that's coming in, and you're dealing with distractions and NBA investigations for Ja Morant, when you're dealing with all of this at once, just stop. Like, at some point, if you're going to be the leader, then close the door. And you know this better than I ever will as a player. But I certainly know this from successful people in my life. Sometimes you got to close the door, and you got to look at everybody that's in your circle, and you got to look at everybody, and you got to say the same thing. We have got to stop and focus on what truly matters. If Dylan Brooks really wants to be a leader for the Grizzlies, do that. Don't turn around and make this team over here that already doesn't like you even angrier because you want to come out and puff your chest. It doesn't make any sense.
And how appropriate it is that these two teams met on Thursday night in Memphis. And, of course, both of them made sure to exchange some pleasantries while sharing the court together. Brooks decided to have his actions speak louder than his words.
Bain, top of the arc, to the right elbow, pull up 15-footer, got another one. Desmond Bain heating up here in this second quarter in the final few minutes. And now the inbounds pass for Thompson, stolen by Brooks. Brooks in it, Green, lays it up, lays it in.
That's 92.9 ESPN Memphis. Eric Hasseltine on the call. I say that, but shortly after, Brooks and Green decided to share some words with each other, and I'm assuming they were not discussing dinner plans.
A layup and a wide open 15-footer. 15-4 run, another turnover. Brooks will drive, layup up and good. Draymond is Dylan Brooks being Dylan Brooks, acting like he's been a four-time champion, which he has not. Walks away, happy with another regular season play.
And that was Tim Roy, 95.7 the game in San Francisco. Only 14 points tonight for Brooks, being made up with on the defensive side of the ball. Brooks held Steph Curry to 3 of 8 shooting with 2 turnovers as the primary defender. Curry was 7-11 of 11 against all other primary defenders. Memphis defeats Golden State 131-110. It's the Grizzlies' 9th wire-to-wire win this season, which means they never trailed in the ball game. That's the most such wins in the NBA. The Grizzlies are trying to keep pace with the Sacramento Kings, who entered Thursday's matchup with the Knicks as the second seed in the West, but were tied with Memphis. They also have a streak going on 120-plus points in 7 straight games, one shy of tying the longest streak in franchise history. De'Aaron Fox coming up clutch late in the game.
36 seconds to go. Shot clock hits 10. Fox at the logo. Creeps toward the left ring. Still in three-point range. Dances with a dribble. In attack mode. Drives. Double clutch. Glass. He's got the layup. 2-possession lead. 26.4 to go.
That's KHTK in Sacramento. De'Aaron Fox had 15-plus points in the fourth quarter. For the 7th time this season, only Giannis and Kyrie have more such games. Kings win 122-117, which means they do get to 120-plus points, tying their longest streak in franchise history. With the win, the Kings move back to the 2 seed in the West. This is the latest into a season they've held a top 2 spot since the 2003-4 season. To the East, where the Bucks are 18-1 in their last 19 games, outscoring opponents by 11.7 points per game during this stretch, which is the best record and points per game differential in NBA during that span, which goes back to January 23rd. They hosted the Nets, trying to earn their 19th win in the last 20 games.
Zone defense from Brooklyn out of the timeout. Sets up in a wide-open three-pointer from Brook Lopez, who makes him pay, sinking it from the far corner left. So Brook Lopez connecting on his 3rd three-pointer of the night, and Milwaukee leads by 6 with 6:16 to go.
That's Dave Kane, WTAM in Milwaukee. Lopez finishes with 24 points, 10 rebounds, and a career-high 9 blocks. Brook Lopez, 9 blocks, the most by a Bucks player since Larry Sanders had 10 on November 30th, 2012. As for the Nets, their starting 5 scored just 15 combined points, the fewest by a starting lineup since the Pistons on April 16, 2008. Also, the Nets bench scored 98 points tonight, which makes sense. 98 plus 15. You get the math there. That's the most bench points ever scored by a team in a game since the NBA first started tracking starters and bench players in 1970 and 71. Milwaukee wins 118-113. Top sound and much more coming your way next on SportsCenter All Night.
Your initial pest control service when jumping onto any Blue Sky 365 pest control program. Go to blueskypest.com or call 602-BLUE-SKY. Better technicians, better service. That's Blue Sky Pest Control.
We're covering spring training and the Cactus League, presented by R&K Building Supplies and Michelob Ultra, the home of Arizona Diamondbacks baseball.
Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
12 on ESPN. This is Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Thanks for joining us on ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. I'm Daniel Salerson. Hope you enjoyed today's hoops action, whether it was college or the pros. If you missed everything that happened, one, you should call in sick today to make up for what you missed yesterday. And two, Mark Robbins has you covered with the best sounds of the night. Mark, take it away.
Number 5.
Hello there, Daniel. We got the college game on the wish list for the top sound, starting in the Big East with the top seed Marquette, stunning St. John's at Madison Square Garden on Learfield.
Iguodala can't go backdoor hazard at the foul line. Gives back to Kolek. Kolek around the high screen. Kolek in the lane. He'll run it in. Take it in. A 4-footer good. Tyler Kolek gives Marquette a 3-point lead.
Number 4.
Staying in the Big East, a big answer for UConn to a second-half run by Providence. Here's Mike Crispino on Learfield.
Sanogo with the basketball, guarded by Croswell, and he hands off to Newton, who starts back to his right. He had Sanogo, didn't see him. Lost the ball, gives it up. Caravan for 3, and Caravan rocks it with a 3-ball, and UConn leads 71-63.
Number 3.
We go now to the NBA for number 3 as Jabari Smith is looking for a 3 late against Indiana on KBME 790 AM in Houston.
Jay-Sean has got to get it in bounds. Does so to Jabari. Launches a 3. It's up and it goes in. It rattles down. It's a turn. It's a catch. And it's a make.
Number 2.
Back to college, and in the Big 12, the Kansas Jayhawks, the top seed, going over the top against West Virginia. Here's Brian Haney from Learfield.
KU gets it across the timeline with 3 seconds to spare. Juwan Harris at the controls for KU. Harris gets a screen from Uday, lobs ahead to Ernest. Big-time slammer! A 2-hand throwdown, and Big Earn blows a kiss to the Kansas faithful.
Number 1.
Finally, Virginia may just have slammed the door shut on North Carolina's NCAA tournament hopes, as heard here on ESPN Radio.
There's McNeely at the right elbow. Takes a left-handed dribble back outside the arc. Shares left for Beekman. Into the lane. Lob. And a jam. Caden Shedrick. Oh, my. Put it on Sports Center tonight. 44-37 Virginia.
That's definitely in the top 5 Sports Center. Beautiful lob pass, and Shedrick almost ripped the rim off.
Geno Smith getting a 3-year, $105 million deal to stay with Seattle.
Geno Smith and the Seahawks were a marriage made for each other.
I do think there's a camaraderie there that has frankly been missing for a couple years.
Well, the Seahawks do not have to worry about finding a quarterback this offseason. The team signed Smith to a 3-year, $75 million deal on Wednesday. Smith did meet with the media on Thursday, but now that he got paid, now hoping that Lamar Jackson gets his bread.
Yeah, I can't really speak on it. You know, from the outside looking in, that would be unfair to Lamar and to Baltimore. But what I will say is I think he deserves to get paid. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks, one of the better players in this league. And I know a lot of the top guys get a certain amount of money, and so I don't see why he shouldn't get that.
All right, don't forget it is tournament time. Tune in tonight for the Big 12 semifinals. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN app. That'll do it for us. For Cam Ursery and Josiah Howard, I'm Daniel Salerson. Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Max is up next. Freddie Coleman in for Max. Roy Williams will be on the show. You're listening to ESPN Radio.
Coming up next, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-511-3535. 800-511-3535.
On the House means home improvement and repair advice is free of charge when you listen to Rosie, helping Arizona homeowners for over 30 years. That's Rosie on the House. Saturday mornings 8 till 11 on KTAR News.
Jay, Will, and Max is up next. Freddie Coleman in for Max. Roy Williams will be on the show. You're listening to ESPN Radio.
Coming up next, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-511-3535. 800-511-3535.
ESPN New York, everywhere. Whether you're driving in your car or riding the LIRR, ESPN New York is never out of reach.
We're going to try to touch as many of you as possible.
No matter your listening routine, never miss Stump Rothenberg for your morning run.
I have a lot of knowledge.
Never miss the Power Hour. Due to your power lunch. And never miss an ENN. Again. Hail in a cab, catching the train, or boarding a bus. The ESPN New York app is your ticket to ESPN New York everywhere. Download the app today.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis or candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new place. Nothing is everyday.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use Closet Box instead? Closet Box is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. Closet Box's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. Closet Box's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. Closet Box has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
The basketball and hockey seasons are heating up. Baseball is just around the corner, and nothing beats seeing your favorite team live. Not only does Vivid Seats have great ticket prices, they're also the official ticketing partner of ESPN. And with Vivid Seats rewards, when you buy 10 tickets, you get the 11th free. Download the app or visit vividseats.com today. Vivid Seats. Life happens live. Receive a reward credit equal to the average price of the 10 tickets purchased, excluding taxes, fees, and processing costs. See vividseats.com/rewards for terms and conditions.
1050 ESPN New York. The biggest names and the biggest games. WEPN New York. A Good Karma Brands radio station.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
If Aaron Rodgers were to win a Super Bowl, I don't know, win a Super Bowl, we're talking, that's hard to do, I get it. But just think, if he were to win a Super Bowl in New York, in New York, he'd be the best quarterback to ever play in New York. Whether it was the Giants and Eli Manning winning two, or the Sims, Joe Namath, he would by far be the best quarterback to ever grace the New York marketplace to win a Super Bowl.
We got that Friday Heat ready for you here on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Keyshawn Johnson, Dave Williams, Freddie coming in from Max Kellerman. Thanks for joining us at ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, ESPN2, and ESPNU. What's going on, gentlemen? Good Friday to you guys.
What up, baby? What up, Key?
What's happening, man?
What's happening,
man?
I'm just checking you out, sketching you real quick.
What do you mean?
With that? Oh, every time I'm wearing a hat.
I'm sketching him. I got a sketch. I got a sketch about.
And not call me a bank robber.
Man, you look like you on your way to Connecticut Savings. And it ain't even just a hat.
I can see it now. Have you seen this man, Jay Williams?
Yeah, I'm sketching him out right now. Look, I'm sketching him. It's that guy right there, the hat, but it's the bib straight. You just got that with the hoodie.
Non-aggressive, Key. They invite me in.
They're going to call him the Note Man. He doesn't want to do any violence.
Borrow a cup of brown sugar, you know?
Yeah, he's just allowed in. Jay's the Note Man. He just hands him the note, stand there. The Note Man. That's what I'm.
So let me get this straight. Note Man. Not even 2 minutes in, we're doing like the male version to set it off. That's what we're doing right now.
I wear it knowing that that's where we're going to have the conversation every morning. I wear it
with Key, you just never know.
No, I know.
Oh, you do?
You know scouting report.
You got the game plan beforehand.
Everything, man.
When he goes to like a box on one, we got to do this.
Jay knew when he woke up this morning and drove in
because I didn't shave, man. I don't want nobody to see the hairline.
That big old black truck. They was like,
speaking of intel,
no, he knows it all. Yeah, he be in it.
Jeez,
because that's probably what he was in. One of them big old black fancy trucks, old thing.
I was in the truck yesterday on my way back after getting the colonoscopy, and
I don't want to know all that.
You get so sensitive with it. You get so sensitive with it.
I'm not sensitive with it. I just don't want to know. I understand what it's for. We all have to at some point take care of our health and get that taken care of.
You ever get one?
I'm not discussing.
You damn near 70. How you getting a colonoscopy, man? You gotta take care of yourself.
Which means he's already had one. He just doesn't want to relive that whole situation ever again.
Look, I don't want to discuss what happens with my medical on. I just don't want. That's not for the world to hear. I don't want to envision what you like and don't like, Jay.
First off, nobody. Wait, stop.
Wait a minute.
Pause. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. What? On what you like and don't like. I did like the nap though.
What's wrong? I said what you like and don't like. What's wrong with that?
When they knocked me out,
that's a great.
My doctor came out. He was like, "Yeah, you take your time." I'm like, how much time can I realistically take though? Like, can I stay here for the day and just relax? Because I'm not with my kids right now.
You pretty much could.
Shut up, you have to relax. Look,
it'll all be over soon.
It's the pre-op stuff. You had to take 24 pills in the span of like 5.
Yeah.
I'm just happy I don't have to drink like the Merlot, like all that, all that stuff.
I understand. I have to do all that. You know the interesting thing about relaxing, Freddie.
There we go.
The New York Jets can't relax just yet.
Look at him trying to be transition key over here.
You wearing the black mock neck today? What you wear?
I know. What's going
on?
I'm like,
what are you talking about?
What is it?
It's just a black sweatshirt.
Oh, okay.
Right, well, we're going to talk
Does it look extra black or something?
You said
there's some extra black going on there. Let's put it that way.
No, this is just a black sweatshirt.
You doing black on black crime right now? What you doing?
God almighty.
It's just a black sweatshirt. It's raining outside.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little cool.
Yes, Nuno, you're allowed to laugh.
Yes, you are. It's quite all right. So
now, Nuno gets uncomfortable.
He doesn't get uncomfortable.
You back here sweating, man.
No, he's not.
Alan Yates,
don't do that.
You can say whatever you want to, Freddie, about him not being comfortable or uncomfortable or comfortable and all that.
All right.
He's uncomfortable.
He's uncomfortable.
Nuno, I got you back. You're not.
They typically get uncomfortable.
Who is they?
You know?
Yeah, who are they?
Who is that?
Our producers.
Our producers.
Shoot, Alan Yates has never been uncomfortable in his life.
Alan Sharpton Yates.
Yes.
That's
No.
It's been a while more.
Well, sometimes Alan Yates will get uncomfortable depending on what you're talking about.
Anyway.
Because every now and then I got to check his palate on some stuff.
I need to be informed, Key. We'll talk about it. I just want to make sure, Nuno, you okay? I know Jalen Brunson got hurt last night. You okay? I know.
Yeah, we canceled the parade.
Yeah, there was a parade in place.
We won last night. Can't believe it.
Well, there's a parade in place for the Knicks having a 9-game winning streak. I don't know what that parade's going to look like whenever Aaron Rodgers is traded to the New York Jets. They may have that already. So we're going to go from RELAX, relax, to REGERT when it comes to regret here on Keyshawn, J. Will and Max, Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, Freddie Coleman on ESPN Radio. Nuno brought this up when we had our meeting yesterday. Whenever this happens, Jay and Key, when it comes to Aaron Rodgers trade, and it's going to be a when, not an if. And he put out the term regret, as in who is going to regret it more. Is it going to be the Jets? Is it going to be Aaron Rodgers? Or is it going to be the Green Bay Packers? Key, kick it off.
Well, I look at it and say, how does this deal go down, right? You move him. What's your expectations? Your expectations is to hit pay dirt immediately because of his age, where he's at in his career. Now Jordan Love is essentially pushed into the starting role. What's that situation? Is Jordan Love missing the playoffs in 2 straight years? Is Jordan Love taking him to the playoffs and losing, but looks great and they got to extend him? So it all just depends on where the teams are at in the next couple of seasons. That's how I look at it. And I know that's not the answer that many people would look for. They want me to just be sports talk radio, hot take guy and say, it's going to be Green Bay and here's why. But I can't do that. I have to tell you the truth. And the truth is I really don't know because if, in fact, he is moved to the Jets, I need to see it play out. I need to see exactly what it is because you say to yourself, is the Kansas City Chiefs regret signing Joe Montana and does the 49ers regret moving on to Steve Young? Well, here's the way it works. Kansas City should be extremely happy because he took them to the AFC Championship game at 1,000 years old and had a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And the 49ers should be extremely happy because the 49ers should be extremely happy because
what that microphone do to you?
Steve Young wind up winning a Super Bowl. My hand hit it.
How much you slap it around the mic?
Your hand beat it more than hitting it.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? I'm very hand-eye coordination. I was able to still talk to
you. Look right into the camera and grab it.
Bam.
Boom.
He did. Yeah, that's easy.
He did.
Like a little Stevie Wonder with the mic that fell down. He just bam. It's like, wait a minute. How
did he do that, by the way?
Yeah. Don't start that.
How did he do that?
Don't start
that. He was up here. It fell. He's like, bam.
Don't start that urban legend all over again, please.
It's not an urban legend. It's on camera.
No, it's on camera. No, people took that to say, well, see, Stevie Wonder can see. That's what I'm talking about. That urban legend.
He can see it. He can see it all.
But wait, you see, I didn't mean to derail the conversation about Aaron Rodgers.
Don't go.
But I've never told you this story about Stevie.
Go ahead.
So Stevie Wonder obviously has a driver, and he drives.
I certainly
right.
So.
Yes.
but allegedly, from what I was told by a car broker that I know, and famously deals with cars with a lot of different people. He would take several cars to the empty parking structure, a parking lot back then it was like a drive-in that was empty, and it would be several cars, and Stevie Wonder would get in, touch it, and he would actually get behind the wheel and feel and drive the cars in the parking lot to get a feel for what it was that he wanted to ride in. Now, if he was doing that and driving it, I'm
sure Stevie Wonder had ways to feel a lot of different things to tell you if it was a Porsche, a Lambo, what it was. You know what I mean?
I don't put that past him. Yeah,
I know, but
other senses are heightened.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it was just it. But he actually used to get behind the wheel in the parking lot though and do a few laps around it.
Wait, best part of the story is when he said, "Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Stevie Wonder has a driver." And Freddie goes, "I would hope so."
I hope so. Because can you imagine you get in the car in the passenger side, you look over to your left, like Nuno and I were talking about, and there's Stevie Wonder behind the wheel.
Hey, man. I mean, Aaron Rodgers.
How you doing?
Aaron Rodgers behind the wheel.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm down the middle here because it's obviously grooming a quarterback for the Jets hasn't really panned out over the last several tries. We gotta keep talking about this, because I feel like all the extra stuff, though, if you're a younger player, then you gotta start answering questions about that.
And they'll have to in New York.
It creates a lot.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna have to answer the questions about that immediately, though.
That is very true. Who's gonna regret this trade more? Let us know at 888-SAY-ESPN. 888-729-3776. When Aaron Rodgers is traded to the New York Jets by the Green Bay Packers, who's going to regret it more? Is it going to be Aaron Rodgers, the New York Jets, or the Green Bay Packers? 888-729-3776. He's Jay Williams. He's Keyshawn Johnson, Freddie Coleman, or Keyshawn Jalen Max. And when it comes to one title in 15 years, who's saying that's a failure or a disappointment when it comes to Aaron Rodgers? It ain't us, but somebody put it out there. That's next on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Max.
A special shout out to one of the great athletes to ever come out of Los Angeles, LA's own native son, Mr. Keyshawn Johnson.
This is Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Max.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due just call the Community Tax Helpline to
dictate your authority on certain guys is what I'm saying. It doesn't, you got to know the room. And I think Aaron Rodgers is smart enough to know, I just got to play quarterback. I think he's smart enough to know that.
But okay. I hear you. But the only, Key, you know how this stuff works. So sometimes, like, you got some strong personalities in that room, and it's not like Aaron Rodgers was, raised by the culture of New York. He's a rental man.
Right.
He's a hired gun.
That's what I'm saying. And that's my point.
I get worried about Aaron Rodgers fitting in. Aaron Rodgers has always fit out.
But that's my point, though, Jay. But that's my point. He knows that. Yeah. He knows that he just has to go and play quarterback.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do all the.
We gotta keep talking about this, so because I feel like all the extra stuff, though, if you're a younger player, then you gotta start answering questions about that.
And they'll have to in New York.
It creates a lot.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna have to answer the questions about that immediately, though.
That is very true. Who's gonna regret this trade more? Let us know at 888-SAY-ESPN. 888-729-3776. When Aaron Rodgers is traded to the New York Jets by the Green Bay Packers, who's going to regret it more? Is it going to be Aaron Rodgers, the New York Jets, or the Green Bay Packers? 888-729-3776. He's Jay Williams. He's Keyshawn Johnson, Freddie Coleman, or Keyshawn Jalen Max. And when it comes to one title in 15 years, who's saying that's a failure or a disappointment when it comes to Aaron Rodgers? It ain't us, but somebody put it out there. That's next on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Max.
A special shout out to one of the great athletes to ever come out of Los Angeles, LA's own native son, Mr. Keyshawn Johnson.
This is Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Max.